Hello and welcome to Indie Book Magic, a podcast that connects geek readers and writers in an open, lighthearted, and occasionally random environment. Only today it's going to be a little more random than usual. We're your friendly hosts, Janina Polito and H.L. Burke. And the reason today is going to be a little more random than usual is because we said, hey guys, give us your questions and we will answer them. That's right, it is a Q&A episode. So today we're answering listener questions that they posted in response to a very wonderfully made graphic that was done by H.L. Burke.
All the cat dragons.
All the cat dragons. We got that wonderful cat dragon graphic from illustrator and designer Julia Busco, and it is going everywhere. So
if you have a cat dragon, you use the cat dragon. It's like the first rule of the internet.
You pretty much got to, yeah. So from favorite colors to writing advice to really completely random questions, everything is up for grabs. So tune in and listen up to some really, really interesting questions. Go ahead, Heidi.
All right. Well, our first question is from Mary Ann, and I will let you answer it first, Janine. She wants to know, what are your favorite main themes for your books and why?
Ooh, this is exciting because this is actually mine is integrated into a tagline I used to have. It's a tagline for my fiction, but on my website, it's kind of everything together, so it's not displayed prominently. But my favorite themes are monsters, misfits, and mushy stuff. Monsters being that I'm really fascinated with why people turn bad and do bad things and how we treat like outcasts in our society. And like not just outcasts who, are being unfairly treated, but actually people who are really terrible people. So I tend to love to get into those psyches and try to figure them out and such. So I like to have these kind of really interesting villains who do these things and they think they're doing them for like the right reason, and it's totally messed up. And have people that you think are safe actually not be safe, and people that you think are terrible are actually like on your side. I like those kind of contrasts between what you perceive someone to be and what they actually are. I also love misfits because I love a good underdog. I've said that in previous episodes. I love when like the world's against someone and like, they're really having like a really terrible bad day, not like a bad hair day, but like, I have evil powers that could actually destroy the world and I'm trying to be a good person kind of day.
I would like a story where the conflict is a bad hair day, but like extreme.
Oh man, I guess I would have to like really interact with the story itself too. So it'd have to like some way be like, I don't know, maybe they have to, their hair being a certain way is like a cultural sign of good fortune or
evil
something.
Hair.
Evil hair is like an evil omen. You know what it means? Like famine has cursed the ground for like 7 years or something.
Yep. But I interrupted your.
No, that's fine. That's fine. The third thing is mushy stuff. And I don't say romance for a reason. When you say the word romance, it's kind of a loaded term that is talking about like, man chest basically on book covers and, swooning women or things like that. And that's not the kind of romance I'm interested in. I like mushy stuff. I like my romance a little more grounded and realistic. And a lot of times my romantic things happen after some kind of commitment's been made. And people are kind of stuck together and have to figure out how to make it work. And also mushy stuff isn't just like kissing and romance. Like, it's this thing that when your, parent gives you a big hug and ruffles your head and you're like, oh man, not in front of my friends. It's mushy, but it's fun and it's interesting. And I love those kind of like mushy connections, but I also like to snark them. So it's like equal parts in my story. I like have these mushy scenes and then I have little bits of snark there too. So yeah, mushy stuff, which is good, happy feels with lots of humor.
Well, two of my themes kind of tie into two of yours. Like you have misfits, I have resilience. Like you said, you like underdogs. I like stories of characters who are overcoming something or fighting something. I don't prefer necessarily the direct conflict to be against a person so much as an idea or a struggle that they're going through or something they're like emotionally having to get over. So resilience is a big one for me. I like to see characters who overcome rather than be overcome. Also, relationships are a big one with mine, which I guess ties into mushy stuff. Yeah. I have said before that I don't find out what I want to do, what I don't get excited about a story until I find the key relationship. A lot of times it's a romantic one, but a lot of times it's also been a brother, a sibling relationship, or even a friendship, occasionally parent-child. And once I find that key relationship, I really get into the story and like breaking down what makes that relationship work and how it would survive certain things being thrown at it.
And that's why you like throw everything in the kitchen sink at some of your relationships. Like it's like Heidi's plot. Oh, let's just make this thing happen and that thing happen and this thing happen, and they still love each other though. It's all good.
They always, yeah, I like the overcoming of it. So, because, relationships ties to resilience. I like resilient relationships. I don't like the flaky ones that give out after the first major stumbling block. But my third one is exploration. I like to explore things, break them apart, look at them in ways that you wouldn't think, like turn them over in my hands, see what's on the bottom side that nobody might have looked at yet. Mm-hmm. Like big themes, like I want to explore new worlds, but I also want to explore like, what's this rock? And if I can if I can take the little rock and make the little rock the big thing in my story, I will do that. I like to take small things and blow them up.
And I actually say I happen to know, and I'm not going to say any details because all these things are hush hush, but I happen to know an author who might just be doing quite a few amazing things with glowing rocks, because glowing rocks are even cooler than regular rocks.
I've heard rumors of the glowing rocks. The prophets have spoken of these.
Or yes, and they make things wonderful. We support the glowing rocks here. Okay, so next question. What do you hope your readers will get out of your works? And I'm throwing this one to you, Heidi.
Well, I just was talking about exploration. I want new ways of looking at something and ways to make things wondrous. I want to take things like music and make it into magic. I want to take things like a cat and make it magic. I don't know, just anything that you can take and make it wondrous, make it explore. I also want people to have a lot of fun, all the fun, and maybe some laughs. And I want to be entertaining. I'm not not a very serious writer. I can be sometimes, but it's not intentional. It just happens accidentally. I feel like I'm a kid who goes splashing in puddles, and sometimes those puddles are a lot deeper than I intended, but I just swim across them and get on.
Yeah, having had the honor of working on one of your latest manuscripts, you definitely have those depths there that you just kind of show up, and it's, oh, look, this just went really serious for a moment. Oh, look, now someone's being sarcastic again. There we go. But yeah, I'm also the same thing. I love entertainment, and I personally don't think that entertainment and depth are like strange bedfellows. I get that if you like feel like you have to approach your writing as, a deep art form, I get that. I respect that. But for me, making it entertain and making it accessible, but also having those depth, like that's all part of the package, and they're not really separate from me. And I like things to be fun. Like I like shiny things. So like if you're not reading my stories and having fun, then I have done something wrong, or you're not my audience, in which case I forgive you. So
we are forgiven. No, I'm your audience, I think. So that doesn't count.
I also like immersion in a new environment. I love world building. Now, I love world building that makes sense to the plot. I'm really picky about that. So if you just stick me in a random shining world, but it has nothing to do with the story, I get kind of annoyed. But I love creating and building new environments. And I have tried many times to just like write a story with minimal world building, just, okay, I can do this. And it doesn't usually go that well. I usually have to have some quirky world building or different element to challenge readers about. So I've just given up right now. I just have to have like a shiny bit of world building somewhere. And also I like people to get a greater sense of others around them through my characters, especially others who are different. An early comment and review I got from an OCD character in my vampire story was, this character reading through their eyes made me understand this more. It gave me a better appreciation for it. I never understood it before. Seeing these different characters come to life made me appreciate and understand them more. And I've had someone else that say that I pretty much write characters that they adore and they don't know why, because normally they won't like, that kind of person or that kind of thing. But when they read them and they see that I tell them with empathy, then they're like, oh, I actually really like that. And I understand that. And so I like that. I like to kind of build bridges with those things and help people to see each other, hopefully in a way that builds understanding.
Our next question, do you want to jump right in? It's from Bethany J. Yes. And I will give this one to you first, Janine. If you could have superpowers of your choice, what would you choose?
Oh, I've actually had this one figured out for a while. I want super fast skill acquisition. I want to be able to learn things super fast. I want to be able to touch someone and if they know a language, I know that language. I don't want to steal it from them, Okay, I actually want the option to steal it from them if they're a bad person, because then I could like steal the martial arts ability, and then they wouldn't attack me. But
You know kung fu.
yeah, exactly. I want to be able to like matrix things, only more with people and less with computers, because people are more interesting to me. But yeah, I want to be able to do that because I do like learning things, but I feel like I can never learn everything that I want to learn in my lifetime. It's just not going to happen. And there's some things that I'm not naturally good at learning. Like I would love to be able to just touch someone and understand math, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to understand above like the 6th grade level of math. So yeah, super fast skill acquisition and knowledge acquisition would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I always say I've also had this known for a long time, and my answer is simultaneously the most awesome and the most lame, because it's completely useless, but I love it. I want retractable claws, and people immediately think that I mean Wolverine when I say that, but no, I want kitty claws. I don't know why. I have just always really wanted kitty claws. They would just pop out of the little soft pads at the end of my fingertips, and I would be able to use them to, I don't know, shred chicken when I'm cooking, or maybe climb a curtain, but nothing more practical than that, because superpowers, with great powers comes great responsibility, and I do not want it.
You'd have to clean them though, and like sharpen them, and like make sure they're all tidy. And I'm sure girls
Well,
want to put nail polish on them
nails anyway, right?
I'm sure. Would you let your girls like put nail polish on them and everything, and like make them look all pretty and blingy?
Probably. I mean, I only wear nail polish if my girls put nail polish on me. So that's, you know, if it makes them happy, I would do it.
That makes sure there's a good mom right there. There you go. Okay. Next question from Melinda. What are your favorite forms of geekery? And I'm guessing they're talking about when not writing, because she said when she's not writing, she prefers video games and D&D. So what are our favorite forms of geekery that don't involve writing?
Well, anything can involve writing if you're clever.
Pretty much, yeah. You can write about anything you want.
I used to be a World of Warcraft person, but I found that the time commitment and their inability to keep the quality. Well, I had some issues with some expansions. That's a whole nother rant. But I played a gnome mage for a long time, and I love being my gnome mage. And I still sometimes would like to get back into MMORPGs, massively multiplayer online role-playing games, if I had the time. But they are such a time commitment, you know? Yeah. And my husband is like, we have to schedule things around his EverQuest raids. So I love that. But at the same time, if I'm doing all my other things, a lot of times that falls by the wayside. I do love a lot of typically geek entertainment. Typically Greek entertainment. I like
Greek entertainment.
No, geek entertainment. I like Star Trek. I haven't tried the newest series, but I will sometimes rewatch Voyager.
Yes, Voyager.
I love Tom Paris. Poor
yes. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I am very big on. I like comic book movies. I'm starting to read comic books. That's my new thing. And I have a lot of obscure Lord of the Rings knowledge, which is a big point of pride for me. So yeah, I like a lot of entertainment forms that are typically Greek or geek. And yeah, that's my thing. And I do a little gaming on the side now, some nanograms, which are Japanese crossword, but actually cross number puzzles. And I like puzzle games.
Awesome. Numbers too. Man,
does psych count as geek too? Because psych is my...
You are totally a psycho, so that has to count. Yeah, you have you can like.
I just don't know if psycho's technically geek or not. But
no, I
love
think geekiness is anything that you're super obsessed about, way beyond the rational sense of obsession. And that is not culturally accepted by society. Because, like, if you're super obsessed about football, no one calls you a football geek because America accepts that being obsessed about football is somehow acceptable. But being obsessed about psych, that's probably putting you a little more towards geekiness there because, like, you know, no, we don't have a super psych Sunday in February where everyone sits down with lots of food and watches psych.
We do have a Shark Week, though, which I think is a win for the psych. That feels geeky to me.
Yeah, that's definitely a win. All right, and from my angle, let's see. Some video games, my attention span for them is very small, and the reason is because I'd rather be creating the things than playing in someone else's game. It's rare that I see a gaming world that like envelops me so much that it's more interesting than what's going on in my head. I know
you
that
can try Minecraft. My girls create all kinds of things.
And it makes you sound really self-centered too. Like my brain is so interesting to me, but like I guess I get impatient with like having to travel around someone else's world. I do play Don't Starve with my husband, and I kind of love that game. I was a huge like nerd about Little House of the Prairie and such and survival stories. So that game is pretty much like all survival, but only if you hate yourself and want to keep dying because it is so hard. We've already modified it like so many times down to like the easiest level because we started out like normal and we kept dying. So anyway, Don't Starve, and then I actually love watching my husband play Final Fantasy 15. I would play it if like I didn't have time because it's just the shiniest game, and you get to ride giant chickens around on roads, and then like fight bad guys while on the giant chickens. And it's really pretty, and it has lots of really pretty pictures of food, and it's like endless exploration. Plus, there's really bad demon things you get to fight, so it's great.
Demons fighting chickens. I think I saw a YouTube video on that the other day.
I tell you what, that game is like they just took everything that's absurd and random that you really want in a game and said, "Sure, we'll give it to you."
Sounds very Japanese.
And I also I like LARPing specifically. I mean, I'm a drama geek and I taught drama and I've directed high school plays and everything. And I married a drama geek who also, we both met at a LARPing game called Daggerfire, which is like half sword fighting sport and then half LARPing. And that's how we fell in love. And so, of course, he'd made it into this big youth activity that he's been doing for 10 years now with after school clubs and everything and does overnight camps. And it's a big part of his like side job. So LARPing and sword fighting are other two geeky things that I do. And I mean, it's just fun. It's really interesting because in the gaming community, LARPing, people kind of give you the funny look about it. Like even more so, like we're like even weirder than like the tabletop people.
Oh man.
because what I think it is you get a lot of people who are more extroverted and who want to like act things out. And so like the introverts look at us like you were so weird. Just sit down and just pretend you're a little figurine. You don't have to act it out. Like, that's the fun. So yeah, that's pretty geeky. And like we have like massive amounts of foam weapons and we have like all these different like costumey things and acquire more. And like, so that's kind of a big thing. Yeah, that's kind of geeky there.
All right. Yeah, I would go for that if I had a right group. I think it's hard to find people with shared interests when you're stuck with all the parents sometimes.
No, it's true. This year though, there's a big thing called Ragnarok that happens every year. I think it's in Ohio, and it's like a week-long camping thing. People bring their kids. There's like it's kind of like going to a con, only it's outdoors and it's medieval fantasy, and there are like there's family-friendly places, so you can bring your family, and there's places for them, and there's places where if you are half family, you don't take your kids there. It's a big week of camping out and sword fighting, and there's like this big vendor area, and you can learn crafts and all kinds of stuff. So we're going there this year, finally.
All right. Well, let's do, okay, Laura P. wants to know, what is a piece of non-typical advice you would give to a new writer? So, Janine, do you have some good advice for new writers?
This is going to sound deceptively simple, and I mean, I'm like the writing guru thing, but mostly it just comes down to know what you want to do and do it, and don't give up unless you want to. And that sounds like really like hedgy, but the thing is, with writing these days, it's a lot more self-motivated, and you have to be self-motivated, especially because so many people are doing it. So make sure that you're doing what you want to do. Make sure you know exactly what you want to do, and then do it and work at being happy at it. If you're not happy, you've either found something that doesn't work for you, like you're doing some aspect of your writing that's not working for your brain, or you're not doing what you really want. And that's something I say too, is I have people who say, well, I'm doing what I want to do, but I'm not happy. And I'm like, well, why aren't you happy? And I say, well, I'm not making money. I'm like, guess what? Then you're not doing what you want to do. You forgot to include that you want to write exactly what you want to write, but you also want to make money. So you got to figure out how to reconcile these two things together. So I'm all about that, owning your journey, know what you want to do it, make it work for you, get advice, and own that. Own your choices. Own that if you're going to write in a genre that doesn't sell well, but you're happy, then own that and find another way to make money. Or if you want to like make loads and loads of money, then own that and don't be ashamed of that or feel like, oh, because I'm writing all these books super fast and they're not always super deep, I'm doing something wrong. Just own it and do it and, be happy.
Yep, be you.
Be you.
Yeah, I'm going to be contrary. My advice is don't take advice because advice sucks. I mean, your advice is good, Janine, because you're special. But
well, and also my advice is basically do what you want. So, it's hard to fly.
Anytime somebody says they've got a plan or a roadmap or a 6-step program that's going to get you to the top. Or anytime somebody posts in group asking, like somebody the other day was doing a poll in one of my writers group asking if how people felt about writing in first person. And of course you get half the people saying they hate it and half the people saying they love it, because it's an opinion, and people are going to have a lot of opinions, and not everything is going to be right for you. Because if it always drives me crazy when you ask for something and you tell somebody how to do something and somebody pops in, well, Stephen King says, and it's like it's this major brick wall they tried to put up. Like, you can't argue with this advice because somebody who really made it did it. That was their advice. So
you're not them,
but you're not Stephen King. You're probably not the person you're talking to on the internet. So all advice should be approached with a grain of salt. All advice should be weighed against what works for you. And it's okay to try advice, but don't force yourself to bend over backwards trying to follow somebody else's path to success. That is going to be the quickest way to burn out and get frustrated, in my opinion. And you need to find out who you are and how you like to work, and be okay just letting somebody's opinion bounce off you after a bit.
Yeah.
You shouldn't always, you can't always be like a brick wall that doesn't want to take any advice, because you won't get anywhere that way either. But at the same time, you don't want to spend your life trying to keep a fish from drowning. Fish are meant to be in the water. If somebody comes to you and says you're drowning in the water and tries to pull you out, that doesn't work if you're a fish. So find out if you're a fish or a bird, and then stick with that.
Yeah, so going back to knowing what you want to do and knowing what works for you, and that if you got that, then, go for it. And yeah, keep learning, because you're going to find out sometimes that what you thought you wanted to do isn't what you wanted to do. And occasionally you probably will take advice that will change what you thought you wanted, but in a good way, and that's okay. So again, be open to that, but don't lose yourself in it.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, next question from Leah. Which writer geek cliches are actually true to life? I.e. cats, coffee, muttering to self in public, living in jammies, etc. What do you got for us, Heidi?
Cats. I love cats so much. Cats are my life. I love cats. Coffee is true for me too. It's not true for everybody. Muttering to myself in public, I think that was true before I was a writer. I like to take my kids grocery shopping, because if I do, people assume I'm talking to them. And I'm not just talking to myself or humming. I think that I'm a more extroverted writer than some. I don't do the whole get really neurotic and go in your room and cry over a keyboard part. So that's going to depend. But I definitely do the talking to myself and coming up with random things and just being alone with my cat sometimes. But I don't know. I would have probably loved cats even if I weren't a writer. I think that I've got that bug that you get that makes you a cat zombie.
They have gotten to your brain. You have gotten the virus, and they control you now, basically.
And they do, and I'm not ashamed of it. So how about you, Jeanine? I know that you have
wait.
some
I got a question here. So if a cat gives you writing advice, should you always listen to that?
Oh, that's hard, because cats don't give advice.
But if they did, would you have to listen to it?
If it did, it would probably be like one of those things where a donkey's talking to you and you should probably listen. I learned that from Deuteronomy. I don't know.
One of the Pentateuch, yeah, they got those there.
Yeah. So, but I know that you are banned from the world of the cats by unfortunate medical circumstances.
Yeah, I grew up loving all animals, and I grew up actually being raised a dog person to not like cats, but I ended up liking cats on my own because I loved all animals, which was really special considering I wanted to be a bird vet also. So I always figured that my love of birds and my love of cats would eventually come to no good end. But I still enjoyed other people's cats. And I used to go to this pet store that had this room, what was called the kitten room. You could go in there and just cuddle all the kittens. And it's the best idea ever.
It is.
But the problem is
so much.
The problem is I started getting really allergic to them, and I kept trying to ignore it because they're so cute. But then I once had a mosquito bite, and a little bit of cat dander from someone's cat hit the mosquito bite, and it went from the size of a gnat to the size of a quarter.
Oh.
Yeah, so that told me, okay, I have a serious issue with cat dander here. So Yeah, I am not allowed to be around the cats. I mean, I can be around them, but I can't touch them, which is really sad because they tend to like just go to me and say hi, and I'm like, I cannot have contact with you, furry creature.
They sense when you're trying to avoid them. That's the
Yeah,
one
they
time they
do,
will smell your.
and then they like are all over you like constantly. Let's see. Coffee is not I mean, I like it, but it doesn't like me. Like it makes my heart beat irregularly unless it's like decaf, and then actually decaf makes me hyper because I'm so sensitive to caffeine. Muttering to self in public. Oh yes, and also like again, my background is in acting and drama, and I'm more extroverted too. So I'm really big into like I'll like act it out on my face, or if I get a mirror and I'm in the bathroom by myself with a mirror, no one else is in any of the stalls, then I'll like figure out some things and talk to myself in the mirror. Of course, if someone is actually in the stall, and that's awkward. But yeah, I do that. I have spent like a day or two in my jammies if I needed to get something done, usually for a deadline. But I mean, I work from home, so if I like occasionally that happens anyway, just because I'm working on the computer, so no one can really tell unless I have a client.
I am weird about the jammies thing. I don't like sweatpants. I don't like, I sleep in yoga pants, which are a little more restrictive. And yes, and I am more comfortable in jeans than I will ever be in pajama pants.
Oh man, no, I dig the pajama pants. And I like jeans, but it has to be a very certain kind of jeans. So no, I love the pajama pants, but I have a lot of really comfy like twill and linen pants and things like that I wear that look nice and normal and everything.
Okay, so our next question is from Julianne W. And she wants to know, other than Cat v Dragon, do we really want to do Cat v Dragon? Because I don't think there's a winner in that fight. She asks, what do we have to say about newsletters and Insta freebies type situations?
Okay, first of all, there's not a winner in Cat versus Dragon, which is why the Cat Dragon exists.
Yes.
Because they have officially reconciled, made friends, and we now have cat dragons. We have not figured out how the cat dragon exists, and we don't really want to go there. But the point is it does. In terms of newsletters and Insta freebie, as I tell my clients, email newsletters are a necessary evil. And if you enjoy them, then they're a necessary joy. But either way, the thing is, because Facebook algorithms and all the social media algorithms are such a they're a game to play and they change and you don't control the platform, anytime you can get in someone's inbox is a good thing. And you'll hear people being like, well, I don't like newsletters and I delete them all the time. Well, that's great. If they delete your newsletter, then they're not your audience. But if you want to connect with like your super fans and people that just really hate emails, again, either way, that's not your issue. That's theirs. Although we love them, but still, it's not your issue. But the thing with newsletters is you get a guaranteed way of getting into their inbox that can't be controlled by Mark Zuckerberg or anyone else. I don't know who controls Twitter. I don't know who controls Instagram. But the point is you don't have to rely on them to contact your readers. And so for that reason, newsletters are a good thing to do. And I've heard the Insta freebie can be a great way to do them. I have not used it myself, but it is on my to-do list to use in the future. So if you want to talk about that, Heidi.
Well, I don't particularly. I think Insta freebie is overpriced. I've used BookFunnel to do essentially the same thing. MailChimp or MailerLite, which is what I use instead of MailChimp, is probably the most popular, but I use MailerLite. You can hook that up to My Book Cave, and currently they have a free service called Book Magnets that will get you some subscribers. But I've just recently started playing around with that because I don't like hard sells on newsletters. I don't think you honestly get the best results if you're just trying to grow numbers really fast. I think you have to focus on attracting the right people instead of just, here, I'm giving away $100 in Amazon gift certificates, sign up for my newsletter. And that can work, but at the same time, it's fine to grow slowly. My advice to somebody would be just set it up and let it kind of like trickle in as it goes. Make it available to people if they want it. Don't worry about it. Don't obsess about the numbers, and just send out don't overdo it too. I hate it when I sign up for somebody's newsletter and I found out they're a 3-time-a-week newsletter sender.
Oh gosh,
there's nobody I need to hear from that often.
That is the quickest way to get me to unsubscribe from a newsletter. As like, I did not agree that we're going to be besties here. Like, I love your books and I think you're an amazing person, but we are not at that level.
Yeah, I know. It's like I just want to know the news, and the thing is, there's so many ways to find out about a new release. It's nice to get that that letter thing where you're not dependent on Facebook and stuff. But chances are I already know about the thing because I do follow you on the other things. So I don't need like 400 different reminders about it. just send it the one time. If I want it, I'll pick it up. If not, I'll move on.
Yeah, and I get that. And the thing is, now, if it's your groove where you were like, I am on this special marketing strategy track where I am going to get 2,000 subscribers, and if 1,000 unsubscribe, that's okay, then do you. As we said, do you. Ignore our advice. But if you're the kind of person that's like, I'm not sure if I really should do this or I don't really want to, then this is basically do it anyway, but don't feel like you have to make it work for you if it's not like something you really want to do. Do you first.
A lot of times I see people who do those things and they're upset because they lost those subscribers, but you're going to lose the subscribers if you do the fast grow method. That's just,
yeah.
So if you are bothered by the fact that you will lose subscribers by the fast grow method, don't do the fast grow method. But if it's something you can just shrug off as like just part of the game, that's fine too. I mean,
yeah. All right. And the last thing
tolerances.
Yes, we tolerate these things because that happens. All right. Ask each other a random question. So Heidi and I, of course, she does her random interviews every Saturday with all kinds of random questions. And I do my one random question every Friday for your characters. So we're going to do random question for each other. And actually, we did not tell each other this question ahead of time, so we don't have any answers prepared. So get ready for some fun. For Heidi, you are going to lose one of your senses. Now, taste is already off the table because if you say 5 senses, everyone says taste because they all figure, oh, it doesn't matter if I can't taste things. So I automatically exclude that one from the option. You have to choose between losing. Yeah, people. I mean,
taste would be the obvious second choice. Okay.
I mean, I have asked that a lot of random questions over the years, and everyone's like, oh, easy taste. So I take it off the table. You have to choose between losing. Right. I guess they just don't care. They care about the other things more. I don't know. Okay, so you either have to lose your sense of sight, which means you don't get to see anything around you ever again. Sense of hearing, so of course no hearing cool music or anything like that. You can't talk.
Talking is a sense now?
I'm saying it is. These are random questions. I said that.
I'm being really difficult. I'm sorry. I've had so much coffee today.
Oh, it's fine. I will come back at you when you ask me the question. Yeah. You can't talk. You can't see, you can't hear, you can't talk, because I chose that one because that's a harder one to lose. Or you lost your sense of touch, so no more getting to rub Bruce's nice fur. You can do it, but it means nothing to you.
I see why people choose taste, because you did not count smell, which would be the obvious choice as one of your senses. See, you were tricky. Well,
yeah, because everyone would lose taste and smell. Taste and smell go from the same area of your body, and everyone then loses them first. So I took them off the table and said, you're going to lose speech.
Okay, well, see, I do so much interaction with being online. I probably could get away for a long time without being able to talk. And my daughters both want to learn sign language, so that's also an option. So that is tempting. I could probably get away. I have had really bad ear issues in the past, and I've had times where hearing was kind of on the table not in just 1 year. So that is something that I have some experience with. Filling is off the table because of reasons that are not safe for this audience.
Heidi is married, and she likes being married.
I am married. I do like to be married. Okay, so my husband would make the bad joke that he would definitely choose speaking for me here. I would get into a lot less trouble too if I couldn't speak. I'll have to go with speaking. I think that I communicate online enough that I would be able to find a way to manage. Plus, I can be very expressive with my hand motions. So I think I could learn sign language, and that would get me out of the way. I think I could handle being mute pretty easily. I don't think I could. I'd need my sight for too many things. Plus, let's see. And then the other one was speaking and hearing. Hearing would be less convenient because, well, I could probably get other people to understand me if I couldn't talk. I don't know if I could get other people to communicate with me well. So I will go talking.
All right, then. There you go.
Tricked me, though, because you said taste was off the table. You didn't say smell. So I thought that was going to be like a really easy question.
No. With taste comes smell. They're both olfactory, so they're connected.
Okay. All right, so I think this is actually a fairly easy one, but I also think it's a fairly interesting one, so which is why I picked it. It's from my list from my random interview. If you had a store, what would you sell? And it doesn't have to necessarily be a profitable thing or something that even really exists. It can be whatever you want. What is for sale in Janine's store?
Oh gosh, this is easy. I've actually had this conversation with my husband a lot because we both have these entrepreneurial dreams of things that could never happen in real life because we can never get the funding for it. It's going to sound pretty monotonous, as in like you're going to expect me to say, "Oh, magical creatures," but actually that would be really hard to deal with, and I want something low stress.
I would totally do the magical creatures, though. That I would.
I would do magical creatures if I could rope you into doing them with me, and then you get to clean up after the cages.
I just put up with the dirt.
Then we get like the magical health inspector coming down our throat and being like,
well, then the dragons would eat him.
Okay, I want to run a frozen yogurt and sushi restaurant. Half of it is frozen yogurt, like the ultimate, like we have, I don't know if you have Sweet Frog over there, but that's a big thing. We're at a Sweet Frog frozen yogurt. And I want to have like this giant frozen yogurt area. And then the other side is like this giant sushi place with all the sushi you could possibly want. And there you go. Because I could live on sushi and frozen yogurt if I really had to.
I was going to say, that's kind of an odd combination to me, but I guess it works. I guess it's because I don't associate Japanese food with dessert, because that's one thing they do not actually have a lot of in Japan.
Well, no, they're separate. It's not like you're making, you're not putting sushi in frozen yogurt, although I won't judge you if you're going to. And you're not like, making sushi out of frozen yogurt, although you could do that too. But, that's like your full thing. Sushi has such a wide variety of things you can eat that you would never really get bored making sushi. And then frozen yogurt, you have all these different toppings and everything you could do. So I figured I would never get bored.
Yeah. Oh, I can see that. It would be a very cold store, though.
Oh, gosh, I just noticed that would be. And I get cold really easily. I get cold when it's like 70 degrees.
Maybe you should have an extra place where you sell fluffy sweaters.
That would actually be really brilliant. Come in here and like they don't expect it and you sell them a sweater like right off the bat. Or better yet, you like loan it to them and they won't want to take it off. And so you just add it to their bill. Yep,
exactly. It's what would you call this? Like it's the refrigerated zone.
Yeah.
Chill zone.
Chill zone. There you go. Alrighty. Well, we hope that you enjoyed our questions today. And actually, we'd like to throw them out to you, especially our random questions. So, tell us which one of your senses that you'd want to lose. Well, not one, two, but you have to lose one. So which one are you going to give up? So sight, hearing, speech, or touch. And Heidi's question, you can open up any
What are you selling in your store?
Yeah, what are you selling? So go ahead, reply in the comments wherever you're listening to this and it's posted and let us know. And guess what? Next week, February is the love month. So next week we are talking about what, Heidi?
We are talking about romantic tropes and romantic essentials and what you want to do with them to use them well in your stories.
Yes. What works and what doesn't. And how you can use romance for more than just, ew, I have to write a kissy scene. Because actual romantic feels and those things can be a lot of fun more than just kissy things. And especially if it's unrequited, it can make things really, really interesting very quickly.
Yes, or if there are giant snakes involved.
Yeah. Giant snakes do that too, absolutely. If you like this show, which of course you did because it's an awesome show, go ahead and throw down a review for us on iTunes or SoundCloud or just on Facebook. Let us know what you think. And if you ever have any ideas for future episodes that you want us to tackle, just throw them down anytime. We'll add it into our list of things that we're doing for episodes.
And we'll probably do another Q&A in the near future. If you have questions for us, we will keep them in mind.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much for showing up and have a fantastic day /evening / whenever you're listening.